and welcome to another episode of We're Not Wizards! Yeah! It's the Muppet Show! It's 2019. It's 2019. And just for you, Pete, jingle, 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 jingle. Because I just had a quick chat with Pete, who's a friend of the show, and he says, I'm going to miss the jingle, jingle, jingle at the beginning of the show. So that, Pete, was just for you. Joining me today, he's a man. Well, he was a man. He's kind of almost like an institution. He's getting to be known as the
corrupt.
He's kind of one of these people. He keeps turning up places, and everywhere he goes, everybody just likes him. He does it for 6 months, baking up the cream. I met this person at Tabletop Scotland, and we had a good day, which would probably mark at least a 6.5 out of 10. So that was quite good.
Yeah, it was a solidly above average day.
It was definitely. So joining me from I did the joke last time. We're not going to do the joke again. It's Ross Connell from More Games, please. Give me more games. Give me more Ross. Hello, Ross.
Hi. Hello. Oh, hi, everyone. Hey, it's good to see you all again.
It's good to be screaming into the void.
What an honour. Second time on the podcast.
I know.
It's like a dream.
Except I've not got a halibut for a face. Or maybe I have because the cameras are switched off. You know, it's just one of these things.
I think I'd like you more if you had a halibut for a face. I'm just throwing it out there.
I'd have those just glassy eyes.
Yeah.
It'd be brilliant. It'd be like playing a card game. It's like, what card's Richard going to play? And it's like, I'm looking at his eyes. And all I see is nothing. Nothing at all. Him with those halibut eyes.
Halibut eyes. One look at you and I can't disguise. Halibut eyes.
It's a haiku. Or a loku, depending on where you're going in Scotland. Moo. The reason that we do this, well, let's face it, usually at the beginning of the year, everybody goes, right, we're going to change stuff. Let's bring in new theme tunes, and let's bring in new graphics, and let's bring in a new segment on the show. And I'm quite lazy, so I'm not going to bother doing that. And I understand people just want the same old stuff, because that's what you kind of want. So it's 2019, I'm here, I'm 44, the scores on the doors, I was going to say...
It scores on the doors 44? Is that the scores on the doors?
Yeah, I was talking to somebody today about bingo, and I was reminded of the fact that number 10 used to be Maggie's Den. That's what they used to call it. So there you go. Two little ducks. You know, we could go through the whole bingo.
So I'm like 34...
don't know.
Yeah, I don't like that sums it up, doesn't it? Really,
just
34. Everyone's just a sigh.
Shrug.
34.
Shrug emoji. You know, for people that haven't listened to this before, and are just like, why?
Bless you for tuning in now.
Exactly. It's like, do you know what? You've kind of had a choice between getting an expensive steak and getting a slightly cheaper steak, and you went for the cheaper steak, and unfortunately you cooked it about maybe 3 or 4 minutes too much, and now it's a bit chewy. So you're just going to have to chew your way through it and get through it with the both of us, because this is how it's going to be, because there's going to be no format. This place is going to go everywhere. We asked for questions. We've got one. You know, that's where we are. And, you know, it's a typical, probably it's a trolling question, I have no doubt, because it's from Bill at the Incorrigible Club, and we'll go into that at some point, or we might just completely forget about it.
Yeah, forget about Bill.
Bye, Bill.
See you, Bill.
Later, Bill. Anyway, when we spoke, we had a little chat.
When was that? April? May? June?
Something like that.
July? Yeah, sure.
Can't remember. You know, it was at some point. Things were progressing quite well, because you were really kind of making a name for yourself, and then a couple of things happened. You went to the Shut Up and Sit Down con.
Yeah.
Shupcon, or
Sean Connery convention. Yeah, I was very disappointed because it was not what I expected at all.
Oh dear! You just imagine folk going, Ross, you're a shite. You're a shite for sore
Smoke
eyes.
me a kipper. That's no it.
I'll be back.
That's wrong.
That's quoting Red Dwarf. What are you doing, boy? Come back here. We called the dog Indiana. Anyway, but so you went and did
Shots.
Still don't know.
Shots.
Shut up.
The Shut Up and Sit Down Expo. Shut.
Oh, there you go. So you did that.
Well, I went to it. I think did it is a generous reflection. Can I just say that for everything I do now? Did the shops earlier.
Did the shop. Did the walk.
Did my dinner. Did a shit. Shoes. Did a shit. Came on the podcast. So, you know.
It's important because there's nothing worse than going like, I've got that with a slight itching feeling, you know.
Well, no, I don't ask any further about.
I need to get. You definitely don't. It's just, you know, I always say always wipe, and if you're not sure, wipe twice. But so you went and did that, and you've been travelling a bit up and down the country. You've kind of been making yourself available, kind of here, there, and everywhere. I mean, was that a conscious effort? Was that something you decided, actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get out
You make it sound like I just fell asleep on buses a lot and just I just woke up in a different... let's just see if there's an expo going on. Hopefully there is.
I just imagine you kind of packed up kind of like extra meeples and dice and, you know what I mean, just replacement stuff, and you went about like the littlest hobo.
Yeah. And
it's like, there's a voice that keeps on calling me.
It's a really weird littlest hobo, though, because I just have like small little pictures of my own face. Just I carry with me and give to people. Like I'm a weirdly narcissistic littlest hobo. Imagine if on the littlest hobo it was just a dog running around with like a framed picture of itself that it gave to people.
I remember that dog. Well, do you remember what he looked like? Well, sure, he gave me a picture.
I got a sticker and a pin badge.
Do you know where he is now? I don't know, but if you check his Instagram, he's just taking some fan and Maddie photos.
He's live updating his life.
Oh dear. 8 minutes in, pure nonsense so far, so it's all good. As I said, was that like a decision?
There was a question in there, wasn't there?
There was a question, yeah.
I think what happened is I was really having a nice time. Every occasion I went to an expo, I thought, well, this is really nice. I should do that again. And so, that's as far as it went logically. And then a lot of the time it would be a week, 2 weeks before something. Not for something like Shucks, but Essen, for example, that was decided, I don't know, like 10 days before. A friend of mine asked, are you going to Essen? And I was like, no, I can't get the time off work. And he said, well, there's space in my hotel. And so I was like, well, I'll just come for some of it. And I just, I went for like half of Essen rather than the whole thing.
What was it like? Oh,
it was splendid. I had a very good time. Fiscal irresponsibility gets you a really long way in life, so you just decide, it doesn't really matter that I can't afford it. I just, yeah.
You just have to do it.
Essen was great. There was a lot of people there. It was the first day I arrived, I made the bold choice to circumnavigate the whole expo. So I walked like 8 miles and didn't really, I didn't play a single game on the first one. I was kind of playing like tag with a game. I'd like just touch it and run away.
Just running past and ideally moving a counter and that. I just thought, what are you doing? Which is that guy with the beard who keeps handing out badges.
Yeah. I just stuck my stickers on people and running around.
I just stuck them random on the board. It's like a legacy game now. It's a legacy game.
Like and subscribe. That was just, I shouted that as I slapped stickers onto people's faces. Like and subscribe. I think it's working really well.
For notifications.
Yeah, click the bell,
Click the bell every single day. Is it a scary place as well?
I'm a brave young man, as you know. You could probably tell by my rugged exterior.
And your battle scars.
My battle scars. I didn't find it intimidating. A lot of people were like, bear in mind, it gets very, very busy, which it does. There's a lot of crowds, which there are. But I found it fine because as long as you're not in a rush and as long as you don't get anxious in busy places, which some people do, I'm okay with it. So I found it very manageable and fine. I actually, liked it. It never really bothered me. All you do is just go, oh, well, it's an absolute nightmare in there. I'll go around, and you just find like a slightly slower route round, so you avoid the crowds. It's okay. It's manageable.
Are you saying you're using common sense and practicality to get
Well,
around these things?
I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but I am known for common sense and practicality on the rare occasion.
I mean,
That was me blowing my trumpet.
Can you do a saxophone?
A saxophone.
Because as I said,
What about that one?
do you have your thumb in your mouth? It's
Thumb in my...
saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I'm not...
only a real thumb. It's only a real
okay.
impression if you've got the thumb in your mouth.
That's only... I'm trying to think.
Mark Cook decided this.
Now I've just got... Okay. Well, it must be right then.
Well, obviously.
What's,
he's a convention owner and
okay, here we go.
Right. I've been playing some board games and I roll my dice.
I'm never going to get him again. I'm never going to get him again.
I can't even think. I made something up at the beginning of last show and I just said I'm not going to make anything more up. Do you know what I mean? Right. I couldn't even remember what's Careless Whisper. What could it be? I don't know. You should have put your... It could be all about people interrupting or quarterbacking games.
Oh,
it's a Careless Whisper.
No one
and
likes...
they come up and they said...
No one likes quarterbacking. No one likes quarterbacking.
I just came up and whispered and just went, I would have went for the oil resource myself, but just you crack on, mate. Do you know what I mean? Or you should have gone to Atlanta and cured it there. Pass it on.
I love the pure Scottishness of the. You should have done that, But like, crack on. Like it's like you do me, yeah.
It's like it's a Scottish full stop, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's just a way. It's a way for people, kind of Scottish people breathe through their skin, as you know. So we don't need to actually breathe in or out. So we can just, normally when people speak, they get to the end of a sentence and they go, and they would breathe in. Scottish people they can just continually exhale because of the way that they breathe oxygen. So they can just go, so I went to the shops, and then I got to the dentist, and they said that I should have gone and got my teeth done, and not actually.
Can we not just have an hour of this? This is what I want to listen to.
Do you know, just like that. When he got that, got to the comic shop, gives a new Domino's in, and it's fantastic.
Oh my god.
Oh dear. Are you, and this is me going back to my Michael Parkinson,
okay.
Are you the type of man who seeks out experiences over material possessions? Because to me, and from
you just stopped to have a drink.
No, I kind of cleared my throat a bit. That's what happens. I got Michael Parkinson throat, and I just needed to jump back out of it.
Michael Parkinson throat.
Yeah, but to me, was this a bit of a kind of an experience trip, like going to Essen, going to Tabletop Scotland, places like that? Was it just like getting out and saying, right, I want to do these things and actually meet a lot of people and kind of really get enveloped in the kind of the hobby, but the meeting people side of the hobby, as opposed to the sitting down and playing side of the hobby?
So I don't really have any like overarching plan to anything I do. But I like doing things. I like getting out of the house. I like seeing people. I'm not a nervous or shy human. So part of it was like, why wouldn't I do that? It seemed like the year before I went to Shucks for the first time, and that was in Canada. But I only went to the UK Games Expo in the UK, so I'm like, why am I flying all the way to Canada to go to an expo, but then not going to expos in the UK? I thought, that's stupid. That's something that you can, should probably look into and make more of an effort to attend local. I think I went to 9 conventions last year, something like that. Yeah. And I was going to go to more, but I had to start, well, mainly my bank balance had to start giving me gentle reminders that I can't afford it at all. At the time, I was only working 3 days a week, and it's like I'm flying to Germany, I'm flying to Canada, I'm flying to Scotland. on whose budget? I don't know. 2019's budget. 2019's budget.
Exactly. I don't need to worry about it. I can keep this debt going and pass it on to any children.
And so it was very experience driven. And I came to Tabletop Scotland because a couple of nice people went, I'm going to Tabletop Scotland, and I thought that sounds nice. So I just booked, and so about 2 weeks before I just booked a flight.
And then you appeared. And then I kind of I had that kind of that, and I think I said this on the last show. I kind of had this experience where I kind of went, you're him, eh? you're that Ross from War Games place.
Oi, mate. Oi, mate.
Alright. You must have thought you were getting into a fight. It's like, what have I done? Some kind of strange guy kind of standing, because you're not aware of your kind of your height until people remind you. And I'm a shade under kind of 6 foot. So it must have been, you're sitting
I was very intimidated. I was like,
I was just like, alright, man.
This guy's an absolute animal.
Absolutely.
This guy's a real piece of work. What accent's that?
That's almost
Anyway,
that's almost Northern Irish.
Yeah. Well, I've been travelling a lot. And one thing you'll find, a friend of mine when I was at uni, he had been to Australia for 6 months, and so for the next 5 years, he used to say that people thought he had an Australian accent, and he didn't. He just sounded like a cunt. So I suppose that's it's not really the same thing.
It's not. Oh my days! You've just thrown me with that.
You might need to bleep that one.
I don't know. Whoa. Maybe we could. This could be the year that we get edgy. Do you know what I mean? I might just overdub it and say bum. Yeah. I could do that, I suppose. I don't know.
You could shout front bum over the top of it, and that would smooth things out a little bit.
Keep dubbing over and over
just
again.
Just dub front bum over half of what I say.
You can't do that. This is not that type of podcast. We're not kind of that level of obscene. Maybe we are. We don't know. But you had fun. I had fun. We kind of managed to play a couple of games and saw a couple of things going on, and got roped into a kind of a Formula 1 game. Do you know, you're going to go, I want to be that friendly, outgoing, approachable type guy.
Yeah.
So somebody says, do you fancy coming over and playing a game? And I was like, I sat down and I played this Formula 1 game with cards, and it was dreadful. It was terrible.
What was it called? Formula 1 game?
No, it wasn't Formula D or anything like that. It was a proper, it was actually called the Formula 1 car game with cards where you pick a card and then you put it down, and I kind of lost interest because it was just like draft a card, take a card.
That sounds like Downforce, where you own teams and you race cars, and there's an auction.
It wasn't. No,
I loved Downforce. I was going to say,
Downforce is apparently an awful lot of fun. This wasn't an awful lot of fun. Yeah. And then, and then we tried to figure out microbrew.
Oh yeah, we did. We sat there.
we just
it was towards the end of the day.
It was so funny.
Didn't have the mental capacity for that.
I think there was a lot of it was one of those things where I think when you play games, you always expect one of yous,
someone to step up,
somebody to step up to the plate and just go, guys, I got this under control, right? It's quite simple. You take 3 of them, you take 2 of them. You go here, you go there. It's like when you want a quarterbacker, or you want somebody explaining the rules.
On that same evening, I think I just was at the level where I just had to watch a game of Scythe for 2 hours. I didn't have the capacity to take part. I just watched people play.
Was that James Naylor, and I think it was Ian.
Yeah.
Unpopular Mechanics,
good
and they
memory.
just brought out, and they were sitting there with their partners, and I was like, I'd really like to play
all fresh faced and ready to go.
All ready to go.
I was burnt out.
We were looking at microbrew, and it was nothing against Sarah and Nigel.
Oh, it looks like a great game.
I went back later on and I was like, oh, right, this is what you do. But at the time, we were just looking at it and going, this is really complicated for such a small town.
Mm.
I want to go home.
Yeah.
I want to go to my bed, but it was good fun. No, I would definitely. I'm going back this year again. And then I did my rant about terraforming Mars. Which you missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. Do you know what? I know? First, nobody knows this, but potentially we have got Stronghold Games coming on the show.
Really?
So that's going to be awkward. That's going to be a bit awkward. So, we're going to be talking about that. But aside from obviously you being kind of like trekking, sorting out people's problems like Kane and Kung Fu, I've changed around from the Little Hobo because it clearly didn't work. But you started to kind of dip the toe in the water of actually kind of getting involved in the hobby in a professional basis.
That's a generously phrased sentence.
Well, I mean, it was trying to be as generous as I possibly could. But you have been doing some stuff. You've been doing photography. Yeah.
So, strangely, for me at least, last year, Osprey Games contacted me and said, Oh, we like your pictures. Do you want to take pictures for me? Do you do product photography? And I said, not really, but I can have a good go at it. And they said, yeah, that sounds nice. So anyway, I did that, and I'm about to start taking photographs of my 5th project with them. And I've got 3 more in the pipeline with Osprey, and 3 other game companies have got me taking photographs for them. So that's a thing. That's kind of nice.
How did that happen? Did they just say, could you do it?
They literally
say, I'll give you a couple of examples.
They messaged me and they said, hey, we like what you do.
Uh-huh.
Would you be interested in doing product photography for us? And I said,
all right.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. But I've actually done some product photography in the past, but never for board games and stuff like that. And I don't have a portfolio of that, unless you count my Instagram as the form of a portfolio, I suppose. And so I said, yeah, let's have a go at it. You know, send us a brief. I'll send some roughs, see what you think. And they were like, yeah, this looks great. Let's do it. And it went from there. And then obviously once I did one project, then they were like, okay, we've got 3 more projects. Do you want to do them? And I was like, yeah. And so then we had an agreement to do those. And now they've got a bunch more projects coming out this year that I'm working on. And a few other people have said, oh yeah, I like what you've been doing so far with Osprey. Do you want to give us a hand? And that, yeah. That's a
nice
thing.
A kind of thing you have to be quite public? Are you allowed to be quite public about? You know, I'm now because I've noticed a couple of times on like obviously on Instagram and on Twitter, you saying, "Hey, look, I've been involved in this." So I take it that allows you to kind of be pretty. I mean, it advertises. It says, you know, it's there. You know, this is what I can do. Come along and get it. It must be a pretty easy. People will like it or not, I guess.
Yeah. So when I started, I didn't bother saying anything about it because I was like, if I'm rubbish, like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm taking photographs for Osprey at the moment, and then like they don't want any of them because they're shit. So I kind of saw, well, you know, so I saw how it went, and then obviously it went quite well, and they wanted me to continue working with them. So I was like, well, I'm doing it, so I said to Osprey, is it cool if I just like mention that like this is what's going on? And they're like, yeah, it's fine. To be fair, you know, they were like, yeah, talk about it if you want. So I just occasionally do it. I think there's a problem with anyone online self-promoting, and it's like, what's a healthy amount of self-promotion and what is like an unhealthy way, like, check me out, hit me up. You know, get in touch. So I think there's a difficulty of drawing, like walking that line of making people aware that you are doing a thing, and it's quite good, and banging on about it. So I try and do it in like a natural way. Like if I've just finished taking photos of something, I'll say, oh, I've just taken photos of this. Or like if I'm about to start something, I'll go, oh, I'm going to take some photos of this game this week. And that's like, it's like a matter of fact thing rather than being like, guess what, everyone? I'm a pretty big deal these days. Wearing my big boy pants.
I put on a different voice.
Yeah. Whenever
When
I
I'm
take
talking to
photographs,
people.
I'm like, yeah, can you just turn your back? Can you just lie on your side? Yeah, that sounds really sinister when you use those phrases.
It does. You won't need your car keys. That kind of thing. Yeah. Last person I gave a lift to home, I didn't give them a lift home. What's that camera for? It's because I like to keep the evidence but burn the bodies. But that must be cool. That must be a bit of a confidence boost to get actually, somebody kind of saying, right, we like the stuff that you're doing, but can you do some more?
I never really would have thought to directly approach publishers about doing something like that. So I was always just like, if people want me to do it, they'll get in touch. Kind of like, if it happens, it'll happen. But I never really thought anyone would get in touch. So it was kind of nice that someone actually did. And that's kind of started the ball rolling on it. Whether or not it continues to be a regular thing at the minute, for the start of the year, I'm taking photographs on 7 projects in the first 2 months. So I'm actually on top of my regular job. I'm actually going to be my schedule's full. So that's nice, but with any kind of freelance stuff, you never know if there's going to be a series of jobs or it'll just be them. So for me, like you said earlier, did I go to those conventions because it would be an experience? Yeah, that I went to it because I thought there'll be some nice people there. I like playing games. I like getting out of the house and I like doing new things. Well, for the photography, I like looking at games. I like staying in the house. And I like doing new things. So, it's all just a general interest in seeing where things go. Because I'm curious and I enjoy it. And I'm also quite, it's just nice to do something, and spend a lot of time in it and be satisfied that it's good and someone else thinks it's good in a non-work. Well, I guess it is work, but it doesn't feel like work.
I know. I think it's one of these strange things though, is it's if you end up in a freelance situation, you end up kind of grabbing everything that you can, just in case it kind of dries up. Yeah. And then you don't want to end up being in the situation where you've got kind of too much on, which is always a fear because I've been here very close with the show in a place where I've went, oh my goodness, I've now got to edit umpteen levels of numbers of podcasts, and I know it's going to take X amount of time. Are you trying to make sure that are you being quite strict to make sure that you're still getting time to enjoy the hobby as is, that you are getting time to kind of play games and not be just using the time to do the photography or be pitching to someone else, or
Well, I I haven't really pitched to anyone, so that's something that I might consider doing. As far as I pitched was just I just said on Twitter, I've taken some photos. Does anyone want any photos doing? And loads of people went, retweet, and then I didn't hear anything, and I was like, oh. Everyone, I got a standing ovation, and then everyone just left.
Everybody turned around awkwardly, kind of shuffled in their seat.
Someone farted.
Give me a call. Bye. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll give you.
This has been great. I'll call you.
Bye.
You haven't got my number. Come back. You haven't got my number. I'll call you. You haven't got my number.
Bye. Doing the actual call sign with a thumb and the finger sticking out as well.
Yeah.
I'll call you. How on Twitter? I don't have a call feature. Exactly.
So I would say that I'm in the fortunate position at the minute where I have probably as much work as I want to take on, and I've not been offered anything additional to it. So it's actually a perfect balance that somehow naturally I'm at a position where I'm kind of maxed out with how much work I'd want to be doing. I'm not maxed out. I'll never say maxed out. I've got loads of time. If anyone wants any work doing, just hit me up. Subscribe, ring that bell. I've got all the time in the world. I've always got time for you, babe. I need this.
You're double finger pointing at the screen just now. I could just tell you. Time for you, double finger point.
I said to a friend the other day, I said that I've basically, I'm enthusiastic about it all, so I always make time for things, but I don't want to be in a position where I'm just saying yes to stuff for the sake of it. And like you say that you don't have time for anything else. I have a weekly game night, so every Tuesday, friends come round and we play games together. This week, I also played games on Sunday, and I also played games yesterday. So, yeah, I'm still making time to enjoy the hobby, and I'm not letting things like this consume it. You might have not seen, so whilst obviously I'm doing some photography as well, I've also got my best board game art vote going on at the minute. That was on part of the show notes. So if you look at section 3, number 15, we're going to get on to that. Yeah. But under favourite shoe celebrities. Yeah. Anyway, that sentence made.
Celebrities made out of shoes? Or celebrities?
That sentence shoes? Made so little sense. All you could do was just say yeah. Even you had nothing but come back with that. You just went, yeah.
You've gone somewhere, Anakin, I can't follow. Do you get chat? I mean, does your partner, do they play games with you? Is it not like in the turkeys? Not going to Canada again, boy.
She is a freelance artist.
Yes.
And she is actually really, really, really busy at the minute. So normally she does play games, but at the minute she's got so much work on, she doesn't actually have any time. Which is fine, to be fair, because I have my weekly game night and I go out if I need to play things. I always think there's a difficulty when you date someone and you are a complete obsessive with a hobby that like you could use like in a way to like try and nudge them into the hobby more than they necessarily want to play. And so I've been quite self-aware of not being demanding in that way, and trying to ensure that I'm satisfied outside of the relationship as well as within it. I don't need to fulfill those desires with my partner. I can seek other partners to fulfill those desires for me.
You're putting on a very different voice to talk about that, but I think it is sometimes important in a relationship that you have your own thing and that you can walk away. No, I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, I know some people that what they do is they play games together constantly. Yeah. And there's part of them that says, I'd love to come home and there'd be like a kind of a trail of rose petals, going into the dining room. And then there's candles everywhere. And in the middle, there's Root with all the expansions. And she goes, what do you want to play first?
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, if my partner said, do you want to play some games tonight? I'd be like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, totally.
But that, it's often not the case. And that's okay. So I'll more leave it to her to want to get involved. Plus, there's a weekly game night at my house. So if she wants to play games, she can play games. She can. Then, it's always on the literal table on a Tuesday if she wants to join in. And we do play games when she's got more time. We've been playing Chronicles of Crime. We really like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective or Near and Far or Above and Below. So storytelling games we tend to play. Or she loves Azul. Massive Azul fan. Likes Carcassonne. We played a lot of Carcassonne and Azul last year. Obviously, Carcassonne was previously on Ross. I went to Carcassonne.
It was.
So we went to Carcassonne together. Me and my partner, not me and you. You weren't invited. And
I did ask.
Yeah, well,
cold shoulder.
And we played a lot.
Still hurts.
We played a lot of Carcassonne there, and then I bought Azul later in the year because I thought she'd really get a kick out of it because she likes patchwork as well, puzzle games. She likes them. It's just there's a level of addiction in this hobby, and she is probably more of a weed level, and I'm like freebasing whatever I can get my hands on at this point in time. So it's a different I've got one tooth. and, I haven't seen my family in years. So that's the level I'm at.
You're at the point of sores.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a mouthful of gaming sores.
I just think that's a beautiful thing. And it's worthwhile changing your current, I guess, your kind of more games please icon. Your avatar.
Yeah. You could just see it deteriorate in time. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
This is an incredibly morbid conversation. And if anyone in your life is suffering from drug or alcohol addiction, I apologise. And I highly recommend an addiction to board games. It'll fulfill you in ways. It's financially equally as destructive, but
it can be.
Yeah, it can be for sure.
It can be. No, but I think it's important that you have a hobby that can be kind of your little hobby. Is yeah, it's strange. Balance, as they always say. It's one of these kind of important things.
Anything you love, you want to involve other people with. And plus, board games are such a social hobby, so it makes sense that you try and encourage your partner or your family or whoever to play it. But also, there's like a level of you have to like ease them into it and allow them to. Not everyone always has the mental energy to learn a new game. You're like, I know you've been working all day, but I've got this 3-hour board game that I want to teach you the rules of that I've bought and I really want to play.
Exactly.
So just sit down and listen for a bit. God damn it.
And how are we going to do this? Are we going to do the bit where we read a bit of the rules and then we play, and then we read a bit more of the rules and then we play? Or do we read all of the rules all the way through and then we try and play and then we end up stopping and starting and playing, and there's all that kind of thing. So I kind of see where you're coming from. What's the next plan? I mean, because one of the reasons when we first spoke was about the kind of the blog. Where are you with that? I mean, is this a difficulty where like a labour of love that takes an awful lot of work and organisational skills to keep going, and then you've got to weigh that up with a kind of a paid opportunity that is potentially something that could keep giving you an additional stream, of income?
I'm the kind of person that kind of wants to do all of it. It's difficult though, because my blog has I don't even want if you had like one of those stop clocks, and every time you did something you started a clock, and then when you stopped it. It must be hundreds and hundreds of hours, and I don't do any of that because it makes me any modicum of money. I remember. It doesn't make me any money, it loses me money, basically. And it's lucky that it's at the point now, it's sponsored by Patreon, or my Patreon sponsors fund the site. So they cover the costs of running the website. So it doesn't lose me money in that sense anymore. But in terms of the time you spend, all time has value. And you have to think, like, what am I getting out of this from a personal level? And does it fulfill me in that way? Because it's not a money-making venture, spending like 50 hours on a project and getting like $5 in your back pocket. It's not really like a return on time investment, So it's something that I want to continue doing. So I've got the vote going on for best board game art, and there's actually thousands of votes on that have taken place in the last week, which is crazy. Last year it was hundreds. This year it's thousands. So it's certainly something that's going well. And it's something that I want to keep investing time in. I've got like 4 interviews like in the bank already to be posted next year. And it does become this difficult juggling act though when you get offered paid work and you have a life and a job anyway. And then you've got to keep trying to fit in something that's very time consuming and requires a lot of chasing up and organisation. And there's certain points, any project you go through, like a point where you think, why am I doing this to myself? Like it's midnight on a weeknight and I'm working on a website and I've got to be up for work again in the morning. And no one's even asking me to do this. Like, there's no urgent need from anywhere in the community. No one's like, "Where's the latest board game art interview, Ross?" Like, no one's asking me. So like, who?
Where's the words? Where's the words, Ross? Eh?
I hadn't seen no words on your website. I can't do the accent. I'm going to stop trying. I'll leave that to you.
That was almost Canadian. That was almost Canadian.
I've been travelling.
You went A and not I. Because where's the words, I?
Well, I've been watching a lot of Rodney Smith vlogs, so that'll be what it is.
That'll be what it is.
Picking it up, eh?
Lovely Rodney.
So it's something I want to continue, and I still genuinely really enjoy it. Like every time an interview comes in and it's finished, you get you'll know what I mean by this. You get this satisfaction of like it's something complete. It feels like really good. Like when you if you re-listen to your interviews, you might be like, yeah, that's fun. Or when I read my interviews, I think, yeah, that's interesting. That's informative. People are going to like this. And I think it's tethering that to like expectations of what something will become. And I think something that I've had to kind of reaffirm within myself that website's never really going to break out of the niche that it's in. I can't have any expectations that it's going to become this big thing because I don't genuinely believe it ever will. And that's fine. That's never why I started it. And it's something that's always going to continue because I drive it, no one else. Like, if I just stopped uploading stuff onto the website, I honestly don't think anyone would even ask. I think it would just disappear. Every time I post articles or interviews, like a couple of thousand people will read them, but there's no one knocking on my door to make them happen. That's all I'm saying. Like, weirdly, I've actually had a couple of artists email me recently and ask if I'll interview them. Big artists as well. Wow. And I'm like, that feels like a thing that's nice. In my mind, I always thought maybe it'll just get easier to produce the content for the site. It'll all just start coming together easier and it will be less time consuming. That's not happened. It's continually been a push on my part. But I really enjoy making the website and I don't want to stop. So I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I think I'm going to have to do this thing where I just reassess each year. Much like I'm sure you probably you wake up and go, do I really want to speak to Ross for the 12th time on this podcast?
I was up since 4 o'clock this morning. I was just so excited. I'm telling you now. I was like, It's like, my wife's like, what are you doing? Why are you up at this time in the morning for? I'm excited! I'm excited! What are you going to do? I'm going to go downstairs. What are you going to do? We need all the chocolate. Why are you eating all the chocolate? Because I need to speak to Ross! Is at work. It's like that as well, because customers phoning me. So you're in a very chipper mood today, Richard. Must I say? Could you help me?
Very unlike
with my Amazon FA? What are you doing? I'm going to speak to Ross! And then just drop the phone and just throwing things about and stuff like that. So it has been, it's been one of those days. I think. Speaking of Patreon.
Oh yeah.
My difficulty with Patreon is that you set up a Patreon to get people to support you.
Yeah.
And then you feel that you should be given even more.
Oh yeah,
to the Patreon backers.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in that thing. It's like
I did a post on my Patreon today, and I just said, do you even want more from me? Like, I feel like I need to give more, but do you even want more? Is that something that people need? Do they need that, or is that just me and my residual guilt for even being able to afford to keep my website on the internet? Like, I feel guilty that people have kept it online. But I think it's really, for me, if I support a Patreon, and this is a personal thing, if I support a Patreon, it's because I want to help keep something going, and I don't want anything extra, because what they're doing already is enough. And that's how it should be, really. I think there's a problem with things like Patreon, where people such as me or you, we already invest such a huge amount of our own personal enthusiasm and time and energy into a project. And then for nothing, not for nothing, but because we enjoy it and that's enough. But then there's this whole money comes into it. And then it's like, if I post a picture of my knee on Patreon once a week, will you sponsor me for $10? And it's like, I don't know. I feel very split on.
I don't know
on that,
because I do see some people who are fantastic at just keeping everything up to date, and
massively,
they do here's this week's kind of cover art, and you know, and I got hats off to them. The guys on Lucky Frog, because I do support a few people on Patreon. I'm, you know, I that's what I do, because I am also of the opinion that I know the amount of work it's taking you to do this day in, day out, to be maybe not going to bed that extra hour early, to maybe getting up, to maybe missing out on lunch that day, to maybe going into work an hour early, or maybe not watching that TV show, or not sitting on your bum scratching away or whatever. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I want the ability to be able to support you at the level that you're doing just now. But then I see people, as I say, on Lucky Frog, they're fantastic at doing it. They like, here's this week's episode art for everybody that's doing it. I see a lot of folk. I've got, for a friend of mine, Jeremy, he runs about we joke, he's about 4 or 5 podcasts. It's not even that. It's maybe about it's actually maybe 4 or 5 podcasts. But they do like an early episode release, and they do episode art, and they've got questions, and they've got kind of like a box of delights reward and everything like that. And I'm thinking, that's like a little industry in itself. And I'm thinking, and it's almost like Patreon is pushing people by allowing an RSS feed.
Yeah.
To release an RSS feed so people can get content earlier.
So this is an interesting thing. So when I started my Patreon, I thought you should always build in extra value for people who care enough to support you. That's something you kind of should do. You should be like, all right, well, I'll give these people something extra, because that's a nice thing to do for people to support you. And I said things like, you know, you'll get to see the interviews before they go on the website. I've not been very good at keeping up with that. I said, you know, I'll do a video blog, you know, once a month. And I did a couple, but no one watched them. So I was like, I've just made videos and no one's even watched them. And, you know, I'll post about what I've been playing, but no one really read it, because that's not what they wanted. I thought that I would give them more things, but really I was making busy work for myself, and that's not what they really wanted from it. They just thought, I like that he's doing it, and that he's got a nice round face, so we'll help support him in what he's doing. Yeah. And I don't want to see his face talking at me, and I don't want to know what games he's been playing. I see enough of him on Twitter, or anyway, I'd pay him to speak less. Maybe I'll make that one of my Patreon goals. Less tweets a day from Ross.
I'd be up to $5,000 a month if I did that. Imagine that. Yeah. I'll not speak for a month.
Yeah, I'll half my podcast output. I'll do half the podcasts if you sponsor me for 10.
I'll do half 10. The podcasts and still end up doing more podcasts than anyone else.
Everyone else combined on the internet.
Which is not funny, because it's fucking true.
Yeah.
I was like, because I was like, I did this kind of like, I'll just do like for the Kickstarter, I'll just do like a quick kind of, this is what we've done this year, just as me trying to justify.
Jesus, you must got tired of typing out the different guests.
Please. And then I was like, okay, so how many episodes did we do? And I was like, okay, I'll just add all this up, and it's 100.
Yeah.
100 episodes in the year. And it's like, and I was like, well, how many guests? And it's like, probably about 90.
Yeah.
I was like, 90 people. I've spoken to 90 different people.
Yeah.
And then I've got like companies that other guys that are just like, they've been going for like years more. Yeah. And they're going, episode 89 of the Dice Tower Network.
Yeah.
They're going, oh my goodness, I've got 140 episodes on you guys, and I'm just.
Well, I remember when we spoke at the start of last year, and you'd done like God knows how many, and you'd done like 38, and it was like 1 month into the year, and I was like, how's this even possible? How can anyone conceivably even do that many? I think we were chatting, and immediately after we finished talking, you were starting another podcast, like after our episode. You hung up and you went onto another one straight away.
Yeah, but then I just really like speaking to people.
Yeah.
There's not, I don't know. It was like, I don't know. I'm kind of like sales. Well, I'm consultancy now, but I do a lot of sales as well. So I got to be able to speak to people, but I find people really, really fascinating. I don't think there's anybody out there that's genuinely kind of dull and boring that you can't have some kind of conversation about anything at all, which always really, really kind of has always fascinated me. And my always thing is, it's like, if it's a rubbish episode of the podcast, it's not the guest's fault, it's my fault, because I didn't find the thing that lit the spark, that flicked them over from me being, oh, what's he going to ask next, to going, oh, I've got this, hold my beer, I'm going to talk, I'm going to talk the hell out of this now, just hold, and it's finding that, and that kind of fascinates how people kind of tick, and people that I've had people that have never podcasted before, I've had people that have had their own, they've been running their own podcast for, Gabe Barrett, for instance, Jamie Stegmaier, he's doing his own vlog and videos. I've had like Edo Baraf, who is a fellow content creator, all these different people kind of on, to people that I've so I've never ever done a podcast before. I've never actually really spoken to anyone before in this way. How would I do it? And it's all that. I just continually find it fascinating to speak to something. Yes, I am speaking to somebody after I speak to you.
Of course you are. I wouldn't expect anything different.
But I find it kind of continually exciting, which is when it's like, when I find something continually exciting, that's when I feel bad about, am I being cheeky then, asking people to help with the money side of things, or helping me be better at what I'm doing? Because, we are, and by the time this comes out, it was a possibility that the Kickstarter will be finished. So I'm going to say this now. We've ran a Kickstarter. I started it on a whim because seriously, I just went, I'm just going to put this up there and see what happens. And we've got a fully funded Kickstarter that's going to help me get a better computer and go places. And I'm constantly at the moment going, is this actually happening? Is somebody going to come along and go, actually, we got the wrong guy? I
think that's what's, in some ways, there are all these kind of crowdfunding things are difficult for a variety of reasons, but I think that's between something like Patreon and Kickstarter. Sometimes Kickstarter is a little bit healthier for content creators because you get money and then you just continue to work. You're like, this is what I've done. Do you want to keep supporting that? Cool. Whereas Patreon, because it's a drip feed, you have this constant pressure of, you continue, for example, my Patreon, it started quite well in terms of people signing up to it, and then it kind of stagnated and no one new signed up to it, and then I had a few people drop off, and then you're like, oh, am I a worse human now? Am I a has-been? I'm a has-been. My website's 1 year old and everyone's over it already. But then you think, you know what? They supported it and there was no obligation for them to continue supporting it. It was great. They did it all. I really appreciate that they were there for any point of time. And it is what it is, And I think if you do a Kickstarter, people can go, here you go, we really like what you've done. Do another year. And that's nice. That's kind of more of it's a different relationship.
I cried when we funded. I'll be honest.
Really?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
That's great.
Seriously. Because I saw it, because I switched on, it's we funded in 10 hours.
Yeah.
So I kind of turned it, I think I put it on at 11 o'clock at night.
See, this is the kind of emotional response that people have that no one really quite understands, though. Anyone who doesn't do this, they don't really quite understand how much it means to people when people actually like what you do. When I did my vote, which I've mentioned enough times now for it to be boring.
Is that your vote about the best artwork on board games in 2018?
Why, yes, it is.
Okay.
Anyway, by the time this comes out, it'll be the results, I imagine. But in the first, and this is the thing. So this doesn't require any money off anyone. It just requires them to go to a webpage. So it's different. But in the first 24 hours, 1,000 people had voted on it. And I was like, what? That's 1,000 people in 24 hours have done something that I asked. And no, that wasn't me now what can I make them do? It was just that's just really nice that anyone would care at all about anything I've done. And everything I do, I try and frame in a positive light. And it's meant to be, genuinely speaking, it's meant to be beneficial to the community. It's meant to be something that people can enjoy. It's meant to be something for for people like you, maybe not you, we'll exclude you from this, but, other people to enjoy. And the idea, behind that is that you are part of the community, but also kind of like giving something back. And there's a difficulty when you then ask for things in return that kind of can sour things, for the people making the content or people asking, for a Patreon and stuff like that. So I try and ensure that I've got like barriers in place, mental barriers where I don't allow a lack of interest or a lack of engagement to take away from my enjoyment of being a part of it. But when things go well, it means a lot. And I think, that's what people don't necessarily always realize or remember, that like, as much as we were joking before the podcast about liking everything in a conversation or like retweeting stuff, if you don't necessarily care, that can all mean a huge deal to whoever it is.
You can just lift somebody's day.
Yeah, completely. Like, I remember when I went to Essen, when I was at Essen, I walked by the Board Game Geek booth, and Rodney Smith was there, and Rodney was like, "Oh, I really want to talk to you." And I was like, "Why?" It's me. And then we were chatting, but people kept coming over to say hi to Rodney, because obviously it's Rodney Smith. Yeah. He's not only a really nice guy, but he's also in the community a big deal. And then it got to the point where we hadn't really got to speak. So we went behind the scenes, like we went backstage in the Board Game Geek booth and just chatted for like 20 minutes. And things like that remind me of how many enthusiastic, normal humans there are in the industry. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you're someone who's arguably, a bona fide board game celebrity, or you're someone like me that's got, an art website that some people like, and they're enthusiastically doing stuff. But everyone is here because we love the community and like that we're passionate about it. And I thought that was like a really nice moment, that it showed that if anything, someone in the industry had just gone, he actually really genuinely cares about this stuff. That's interesting. I kind of want to know a bit more about it. So that was nice that he was basically like, it was just a reflection of the fact that I was enthusiastic and a genuine human. Whereas, sometimes you worry, like, I always joke with my friends that I'm, an influencer, and I'm like, I go into like shops and I just look at a shirt and they want to buy it. They want to buy it more now because I've like been seen near it.
I go to shops, folk think I'm shoplifting.
I hate shopping. I hate it.
Go and keep it. He's in again. Go on that boy from the Wizards thing. Go and keep him away from the magic cards, for goodness sake. Tammy's gone for one. and then I'm gone. But, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I liked going to expos so much, because I'd bump into people that I'd had some kind of interaction with online, and I'd just go, "Hey," and they'd be like, "Hey," and we'd just be like a couple of people just real happy to be enjoying the hobby together in a space. Getting out, it's just nice to get outside, isn't it?
It is. It's the old Morecambe and Wise thing. It's nice out. Yeah, I think I'll take mine out. We do. So what are you doing next then? When are you starting your own podcast? Because you have to.
Well, about a year ago, I was like, I'm going to start my own podcast. And then I thought, what about? What about? Obviously board games, but I'm just like, I like board games. What do you reckon on them? And
I think an art podcast about board games would be absolutely hilarious.
People will love hearing me go, "Hey, you should see it." I mean, you can't, but you should see it. The artwork on it. It's got all amazing. Should have seen all the line work, those colours.
If this was a pizza, it'd be stuffed crust. It'd be a bit of garlic.
This was a cheese, it'd have holes in it. It's that level.
I've got some iron brew. Do you want to look at our question?
Oh, yeah. We've got a question. Oh, maybe I'll check. Should I check social media right now?
Let's check how many questions we have from the social media. This is going to be brilliant.
How many likes and subscribes have I got since we've been talking?
15 likes. People just like you. I like you, but not that much. And the question comes from Bill, who's at the hashtag Incorrigible Club. That's Bill at the Incorrigible Club. And his hashtag, his Twitter handle is @FitzySimmons. And you can find him at instagram.com/Bladio22, because I think you should all get in contact with him for this stormer of a question that they have submitted, which is, have you found the question?
Should I read it?
I think so.
All right. So the question is, I'll do it. I'll do the voice I imagine he has, which is he's in Canada. So his Canadian accent is, "What sorts of magic is Richard proficient?" I don't know why everyone seems like they're from the same place. Are there others that he'd like to develop more skill in? That's the question. So that was pretty Canadian, right? That was. Oh, no, sorry. Is there more he'd like to develop skill in? Eh?
I was going to wonder. I was going to be disappointed if you missed the A out of the end. It depends what he's talking about. Is he talking about close up or projectile? Because
it depends what you're talking about.
I don't know. I mean,
close up or projectile?
Yeah. Projectile magic is the ability to influence others from a distance. Close-up magic is the ability just to kind of influence them there and then. Yeah. So, for instance, from a distance, if possible, depending on the skill level, I can make somebody feel a certain level of emotion.
Like bloated.
Whereas close-up, I can do more things. So, further away, I can make maybe somebody feel slightly thirsty, or too hot or too cold. It's kind of more environmental type magic.
Okay, here's a question. So I'll just give you a scenario. So let's say we were sat at a 30-person feast table, right? And I was wearing a thick wool jumper. Mm-hmm. What could you do from that kind of distance? You're at opposite ends. Mm-hmm. Direct line of sight. Mm-hmm. I'm eating a Frey Bentos pie out of a tin. Okay. What could you do in that situation?
There's a couple of things I could make. I could influence the production of saliva in your mouth, so you would make it feel like it was the tastiest pie you'd ever eaten. At the same time, I could also make you feel slightly more hungrier, because it's kind of hot or cold. I could make you feel extremely cold, even though you're wearing the kind of jumper, or kind of feeling extremely hot. I can also make you hear the music from Fleetwood Mac. It's a side thing, but it's something that also happens, generally from the Rumours album. Who knew? So that's one of the things I can do. If you're closer...
I'll give you another scenario, Let's say let's say I was wearing a negligee and sat on your knee, gently combing your hair. Mm-hmm. What kind of magic could you do on me then?
Anything you wanted.
I don't feel like that was an appropriately detailed response after you making this Frey Bentos pie taste like the best pie of my life.
I just need a minute. I'm still visioning it. Nope. Still thinking.
Let that one percolate for a minute.
I am. Definitely. No, that'd be about it, really. That'd be good. Are there any other skills that I'd like to develop more skill in? I'd like the ability to how to put it? There's a difficult way to do it. I'd like the ability to make people feel happy, which is a really difficult one to do.
That's tricky. Yeah.
It's very easy to take things away. But it's very difficult to make people kind of happy. It's a very, very high level spell. It's actually easier to turn yourself into a tiger than it is the ability to make somebody smile. So, there you go. Which is why magic's rubbish, because you could just tell them a joke can make them smile, but wizards never think like that, because they're the most impractical creatures in the world. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So there you go. Rubbish, the whole lot. There you go, Bill. Hope you're happy. put the whole thing into a downer. However, I do this fabulous vision of Ross now in my head.
Well, that was, that was magic in itself.
That was magic in itself.
That's the smile I brought to your face.
No magic required.
No magic required.
No magic required. Where, on that note, where can we find you on the internet webs?
I mean, it's getting hard. You're getting a hard push to avoid me on the internet these days. So I would say if you want to find me, you can go on my website that we have discussed at great length, which is moregamesplease.com. And you can check out either the vote whenever this comes out, if it's still going, which it won't be. So you can check out the results of the Best Art of 2018 vote, which, like I say, was my way of giving back to the community. It seemed like a nice thing to do. My battery is low. God damn.
Quick drama. We've got drama here. We've got drama in the last minute, and he's fallen. He's fallen. He's fallen. We've not only destroyed his computer, we've potentially hurt him. Oh no. He's actually... Something's happened. Oh dear. I just hope he's still recording. For those who have just joined us, Mr. Ross Connell appears to have done something to his computer, which means it's all kind of dropped out, and it's got a bit fuzzy. So we're going to hang on in here. And we're hoping to hear from the palace. We're hoping to hear from the palace in the next 5 minutes. Any second now. He could be back. Or he could be away. For good.
Oh, jeez.
Louise. It's one of these things, please. Yeah. Right. Okay. So I'm keeping that in because that was brilliant.
That was too much for me on a Thursday night.
It's just too much, right?
That's too much excitement.
Okay. I don't know how to continue. I'm out my flow because usually, I ask you where you are, and then you don't go. Oh, my battery's died. Well,
knock my microphone on the floor, and then the line goes dead. That's the best way.
I think it's just at the end where what you do is you kind of would probably end at the with the Hulk piano music.
Oh yeah.
You know the dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
dun 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 dun.
Just with my thumb out on the highway, just trying to flag down just to ride anywhere else. It's almost like you asked me how you could find me, and I was like, shit, what if you do find me? Like,
crank caller.
I've been on the run so long. I wasn't prepared for that.
I'm just tired, but think of everywhere you've been while you've been on the run. It's been absolutely fantastic. Okay, so yes. I'm going to just dive in and say, if you want to keep an eye on what we're up to, let's bring this back into some kind of semblance of order.
Yeah.
Go to the internet webs, search for We're Not Wizards. You'll find us.
That was
Simple
easy.
As.
Well, I may as well say how you can find me whilst we're still here. So, More Games Please on Instagram, More Games Plus on Twitter, moregamesplease.com. It's all linked off moregamesplease.com anyway, so if you were
there you go.
If you were foaming at the bit, chomping at the bit,
chomping
if you were
chomping at the mouth,
foaming and chomping,
it's all gone wrong.
Get on that internet.
Doctor time. You can also you can find us on all the podcast catchers, your Stitchers and your Speakers and your Aircast. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram as well, and Twitter, and also Facebook, and our website and our blog. And so you can find us all there by searching for We're Not Wizards. You can, if you like us a lot, then there's a couple of things you can do. The first thing you can do is if you listened along to tonight and you went, okay, who else can we inflict this on? Because I know if I've had to put up with it, I'm definitely wanting somebody else to put up with it as well and share the pain. Is to not because Ross is fantastic, but obviously having to listen to my inane garbage. Tell somebody, let them know. One of the ways that we grow is through word of mouth, and fantastic to hear new people kind of enjoying the show and finding us in lots of different places, worn out places, same old faces, etc., etc. The other thing you can do is if you go to Apple Podcasts, if you drop us a subscription, and if you that'd be very, very nice. If you like us even more, consider giving us a rating or a review. And as we say, it's 2019. We don't care. We're still living it like it's 2016 because it's our third year doing the show. But if you like us a lot, then consider giving us a rating or a review. If you are going to give us a rating or a review, don't give us 10 stars because it makes us big-headed. But don't give us 1 star because it maketh us cry. And I'm getting older, which means I'm getting even more ugly as a crier. Give us something in the middle, like a 5, because it's average, and we're just a little bit average.
It's an average podcast for average people.
Yes, it is. We'll have no trouble here. But the person who's not been average is rather wonderful. They're always fantastic. They're roaming all about the place. Seriously, if you get a chance to meet Ross, then take that chance and meet Ross, because he is one of the most affable, friendly, approachable and interesting people that I've met in this hobby so far. He didn't know I was going to say that, but he's maybe sat there and surprised, but it's just one of these things.
Stunned.
There you go. I've liked and subscribed, if you look at it that way.
He rang my bell.
There's only 2 more things to do. The first thing is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards?
No, we are most definitely not.
Do you know what? That's probably why things went wrong, because I started talking rubbish about wizards. Somebody went, I'll curse you. That's what happened. I'll make his battery die us, basically.
I think it was the negligee that just sucked all of the power out of the battery.
The negligee. It went, ooh, juice.
Yeah, all of the juice just came out of that laptop in one go.
Can't handle it.
The CD drive popped open.
It did indeed. Various kind of rockets taking off into space. All that jazz. And the second thing is to say goodbye. So it's a goodbye.
Goodbye.
The wonderful, the fantastic, the amazing Mr. Ross Connell. Say goodbye, Ross.
I love you. Goodbye.
Bye. And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe. Roll 6s. And you are all amazing. All of you. Every single one of you. Don't let anyone tell you anything different. You are fantastic. And I hope this is the start of a fantastic year for every single one of you. I care for you all a hell of a lot. Mm-hmm. And until the next time, though, goodbye.
Bye.
No, you hang up.